Well, it looks like DDD is just shaking up the meta. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So today we're going to be looking at the Oldenburg Regional, and this is a little bit smaller in attendance for an event, but I don't think that changes the rogue challengers that you've kind of got going into the meta. I mean, if Vanquishal can't climb up and perform and Dracotail can't perform, I mean, then are those truly the best decks? I mean, it's to be determined. Now, winning this event actually was Yummy with Fiendsmith. There were two variations of this deck running into the top cut, and I mean, do I think that that's particularly scary? I think it's interesting. Considering the fact that Yummy Fiendsmith has been kind of taking off, and I mean, once again, this kind of shows how good, you know, being able to slot Fiendsmith into whatever deck that you want to be able to make it work, and it's doing pretty good. We also had two Radiant Typhoon. Radiant Typhoon actually ended up getting second out of this event with another clearing top 8, which I think is fine. We also had, oh boy, Mitsurugi. Now, one of the lists that we're missing is a Rizal Mitsurugi variant. Now, you can kind of imagine, you know, Rizal is, or Detonator is still one of those really stupid cards that you can just kind of punch through things on the field. And a lot of decks, I mean, systematically don't really have an answer still to this day for that. So I don't know, I find that to be a little bit interesting that these weird off-of-the-wall Mitsurugi variants are actually kind of performing and doing well. Oh boy, we also have DDD. Now, the reason why I wanted to cover this is there have been a lot of different DDD variants kind of coming into the spotlight recently. It's not surprising to see, but I think it's just an interesting little spectacle to see just who's coming out on top. And we also had an Orcust variant as well, showcasing Shining Sarcophagus. Yes, that's right. The Dark Magician Girl and all of that fun stuff that we were expecting to be meta-relevant is doing things. Now, going into who won our event. So this is going to be Eric's first place list. And yes, you are going to notice we are going pretty hard here on the Fiendsmith stuff. We're just slotting in 2 copies. We've also got Track to kind of help us through and make sure that we can circulate to get those numbers going. But I also find it really interesting down here that this list is actually playing the Obedience School. It's been a very long time since we've had somebody actually look at Obedience School as a card. But I mean, if I can get 3 bodies beamed out onto the field and be able to kind of make a semi-decent field with this, then I'm gonna do it. You know, it's one of those things that's like, this actually has value. We also do see the Diabels, yes, being able to burn through Dracotail's resources and forcing them to not play the game. It's been pretty interesting, but pretty extensive Fiend package for this list, going with the double field spell as well. But yeah, this is what Yummy has effectively been reduced to, and it's working pretty well for it. Next up is Julian's interesting Radiant Tie. Actually, this isn't all that interesting. This is some pretty basic stuff. Going with the 2 copies of the Twin Storm Deities, which I don't hate this, honestly. The cool thing about having access to the Twin Storm Deities in your deck is, I mean, the card just feels very, very ignorant. Trust me. It's just, I kind of understand why you want to. You want it to not clog up your hand. You don't want to see this as a card that's going to really inconvenience you on the end of these boards. It's just, it's a piece that you can kind of see, and we don't want to feel too bad about that, which that's understandable. Also, all the super poly targets in the frickin' world, man. I mean, once again, I mean, this deck has the slots to dedicate to this, and I don't think that that's a terrible thing, right? You want this to be as kind of optimized as you can get. Also, shout out to Mr. Lava Golem here for being one of those really, really, really pain in the butt challengers. Oh, all right, we have Julius's Fiendsmith take on this deck as well. So, once again, I mean, you get to see multiple different variations and swing throughs here for this deck, but also I do see that we are playing the Yummy Assist in here. I forgot what this thing does. Once per turn, during standby phase, you can gain 100 life points, and if you do, your opponent pays 100. And you can only use each of the following effects. So during the main phase of your opponent's battle phase, all right, you can send 2 Yummy cards controlled to the graveyard, including this, to return 1 card on the field, or either graveyard to the hand. Well, that seems pretty strong. I mean, it also gives you another card to be able to access along the combo line. So that's something that you kind of got to think about, right? If I've got more options to work with, then it's probably gonna pay off. I think that's one of the cool things that we do get to see with lists like this. You know, there's always gonna be a payoff at the end of the sugar-coated rainbow, and this card feels like it's actually helping out quite a lot for that. We have Marlin's top 8. Boy, this deck is such an interesting creature, because it's become more streamlined over time here. It's not like we're sitting here watching this deck just kind of fail. No, it's the new stuff made an attempt to make it a little bit more optimized. You know, because previously, before this support, you'd have this deck going so scatterbrained every other which way that, you know, kind of felt like people were losing their minds trying to figure out the perfect way to build DDD. And now that, you know, you've got the combo pieces, you know, you have an end board piece. It's going for the big boss monster himself with all of the little roundabout pieces to do its thing. Now, you've also noticed most of the generational list have now cut back on Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is a broken card, all right? Nobody's going to deny that. But it's just become a piece that, you know, you kind of just, you go with the 2 of and you kind of call it a day. I also find this very interesting. So most lists, usually, the OCG likes to incorporate in the 1 copy of the Dark Contract with the Witch, but a lot of the TCG was going with the Dark Contract with the Eternal Darkness. Both of these cards are phenomenal. I find it interesting in terms of structuring of, you know, what this list is doing, that they just decided not to play either one of these in the main deck. There's no wrong answer to this, but I feel like you're losing something by not having, you know, one of these pieces to kind of help you out. All right, next up here, we have Simone's Mitsurugi Fiendsmith list. And, well, straight off the bat, I mean, you're going to see not 1, not 2, but 3 normal summon monsters whose job is to kind of chugga you on through to get to that combo. Because, I mean, a lot of the ways to try to play this deck now is we got to have consistency. You know, if I can see consistency and I can see pieces to make things go, then, you know, we're kind of off to the races. And that's what Mandra's for. If not, you know, it's just going to be a giant card to hand trap. But that's where the Fiendsmith package comes in. You know, both of these packages' jobs are to make sure that I can actually get to an end board that feels like it's a good combo variant to be able to get set up. Also, you know, shout out to Wave King Kaiser down here. You know, this card has just been one of the craziest pieces in modern recent times, and it's going to continue to be a very, very, very strong, impactful card. Also, triple copies of the Dogmatica stuff. Good stuff. All right, this is Philip's Shining Sarcophagus pile. And this is what we were talking about originally when this deck came down. Was the Dark Magician Girl is an amazing splash piece. This card gives Orcust the chance to discard any of these bad Orcust monsters that they don't want to commit to a normal summon and get them already set up into the graveyard. This is also where the Gandora comes in as well, because we can actually extend with the Gandora to put a body on the field so that we can actually make our monsters just a little bit easier. And the fact that there is a payoff on this end board, which, you know, being able to turn this into the Dark Magician and then make the Dark Dragoon as a boss monster to sit on passively going into the additional turns, really, 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 really says something about how this deck is able to play. And I think it's one of the scariest upcoming challengers that we have access to right now, because this card is very ignorant, and the fact that you have access to all these different pieces for this is truly, truly, truly beautiful. And our last list here is Ryan's Radiant Typhoon list. Now, this is kind of what you would more expect, right? You know, you got the triple copies of the Storm Deities in here to be able to use as the Force Interruptions to kind of clear through and do all the bouncy bounce. But you've also got 2 copies of the Dogmatica, or the Albaz, Broken card. Like, this card does so much, man. Fallen and Virtuous is such a stupid card. I do see that we are also playing double Pankratops in here. I've not seen a lot of dedication to Pankratops. I don't hate the idea of being able to use Pankratops to kind of roll out and be a strong monster to help you do your thing. I also got Triple Dimensional Fissure in here. That makes sense, right? Di-Fi still kind of remains one of the stupidest little challengers that you can kind of toss around out here. And I mean, if your opponent's not playing the game, then you're probably winning. So that's kind of how this works right now. So what do you guys think about these interesting lists, to say the least? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.